Welcome to the Posicovidity Interview Series, featuring organizations and individuals working on bringing solutions to the broader community during COVID-19. At Posicovidity, we've scoured the internet for coronavirus resources, so you don't have to.
Hi everyone, I'm Santani. I started Bay Area Face Shield Supply, and it's just a bunch of people in the San Francisco Bay Area and a few outside it. We're trying to get personal protective equipment, face shields, to doctors and health workers, pharmacists, all kinds of people who need it in this crisis. And we could definitely use your help too.
Hey everyone, so excited to have 4 incredible people here with me today. They've been working on Bay Area Face Shield Supply, where they're mobilizing every individual 3D printer they can find, finding pieces of plastic and foam tape so that they can assemble these critical face shields that go over the face to as many hospital workers, pharmacists in the Bay Area as possible. They've grown the effort to nearly 50 people over the course of just a week alone, and in the past week of starting, they've shipped out 200 masks, 100 as of Friday and 200 as of Sunday. So tell us about Bay Area Face Shield Supply. How did this start and what are you guys working on?
Okay, I'll just give some background about how it got started. Obviously, we all know the coronavirus crisis and how there's a huge shortage of medical protective equipment. I actually saw an email chain about an initiative for DIY 3D printed equipment back in Boston, organized with Massachusetts General Hospital. And I didn't see the same kind of thing happening here. I know it was happening, but I didn't see any evidence that the same need was being met here. So I basically figured, I'll put out a call for help on Facebook. I'll borrow the 3D printer from work and buy some stuff on Amazon and see what we can get started. I was thinking of maybe making a few a day or whatever I could, just for friends and colleagues that I knew were working in the field that were, bringing in homemade stuff and having to reuse disposable equipment and all this kind of thing, and it just seemed unacceptable to me. And from there, it just kind of grew. I was very lucky that people have, responded really well.
I got a bunch of WhatsApp messages from Santani at the beginning when he was like, hey, I'm interested in doing this project. Would you be on board? And I was like, yeah, sure. So that's kind of how I got involved, I guess. My husband and I, we joke that we're in the plastics department because that's all we've really been doing, cutting the shields, the plastic shields to put onto the visors, but yeah.
Tim, Chung-Hay, guessing word of mouth brought you guys in and now you're part of this critical effort.
Yeah, it was through Facebook. So I saw Santani's post that he was bringing together a team, building a team to make 3D printed visors. So I have a 3D printer sitting idle because I usually only use it for wearable tech projects, and that's not very frequent. So I figured I should use the printer to good use. So I teamed up with Centanni.
I saw Chung-Hay make a post on Facebook as well, so I decided to just enlist my printers to start helping out with the effort as well.
So walk us through, how do you start with a design, and right now, how are these masks being made, how to use a 3D printer, and how are you getting them out to the communities?
So the way that we make these is there are 4 main components. One is the 3D printed visor, and that is this thing right here. And so, just looks like any visor. You can wear it like this to give a little more clearance for goggles, or you can wear it like this. It doesn't matter. Then strap some normal sewing elastic onto it, and then you tape some. We use closed cell weather strip, weather sealing foam tape, so that it's comfortable to wear. Basically, if anyone out there has some of this, we would love it. And we'll pay you to ship it to us overnight. And then we find some clear plastic sheeting. And this is where, Audrey really comes in. a lot of people have done a lot of manual work because it's been hard and slow to get this stuff. Strangely enough, we ordered a couple $100 worth on Amazon. We got a bulk order from Tap Plastics. You just hole punch it according to a template. We have, in response to some feedback from the docs, we have trimmed these corners so that when you're wearing it, the corners don't bump your shoulder and knock the shield off. So how we make these, someone asked me where are these produced, and the answer is all over the Bay Area, wherever someone has a 3D printer. So it's a very distributed supply chain, or supply web, I guess.
There is a sign-up form, so it is a very easy link. So it's a bit.ly link, so bit.ly / Bay Area Face Shield Volunteer, and there are little dashes between Bay Area Face Shield Volunteer. And it just goes to a Google form, and then Centanni will loop all the volunteers onto Slack and everything else.
Tim, how has your advertising life overlap with this? How are you energized by this effort? Where are you plugging in?
I mean, advertising's always been the same. I've been able to work from home, so I can just pretty much crank out as many visors as I can. Pretty much the only downtime I have when I'm printing is maybe about after 5 hours of sleeping. I can't. That'll probably be about when the printer is done, and I can't clear off the printer, so I have a little bit of downtime there, which is what I'm kind of sad about. If I could crank this out for 24 hours a day, I'd do that, but looks like right now it's about 19 hours a day.
So inspiring. How have you guys gotten these into the hands of doctors and built that network out?
All of us have some direct or indirect connections actually to specific deliveries we've made, but I'll just sort of start and say the first contact was just a friend that I have known for a while, and he is just an ER doctor in the East Bay here in Oakland, and I first just texted him and said, could you guys use this, or is it overblown in the news? And he said, no, we will take whatever you can get. He's the guy who said his face shield disintegrated. So he obviously has a whole network of colleagues. Word of mouth spreads from one to many.
How can people help right now? What do you guys need?
Oh, great question.
Yeah.
The short answer is some of everything. The longer answer is we could always use funding. We're never going to say no to that. Right as of today, we have, we're actually slightly ahead in donations versus expenditures. This is a situation where every day counts. Every single day, the situation changes, right? We're getting these daily updates of this many people, new infections, deaths, etc. And so we're optimizing for speed, which costs us a lot of efficiency in the long term. The second thing we need is printer material, filament, and just printers. So if we can parallelize this process, and that's really what we're trying to leverage. The third is really just the other components, plastic and elastic, and even this foam tape. And we could use as much human labor, cutting, hole punching, so that every individual person can actually try to do the other things that they're trying to do this whole time.
We'd love to maybe go around and just hear about how maybe challenges have arisen that you didn't expect, or fulfillment from this process that you've already experienced.
Similar to Tim, I think I also posted on Nextdoor, and that's been really interesting to get also different insight on how people can help. And we have someone on Nextdoor, I don't know if it's going to work out yet, but she was sort of suggesting that one thing that she can do is a donation drive for material, which is something that I don't think we had thought about before. So she was sort of like, I'll post a list of the materials that you guys need, and I'll get people to kind of just bring it to me. I'll sanitize everything, and then I can drive them around wherever it's needed. So I'm hoping that that can work out, because I think that that can help us quite a lot.
The time thing is a huge factor. That's pretty much our greatest enemy after running out of the materials. Thankfully, I haven't run out of materials yet. But yeah, I mean, time and distance, I've seen posts on Nextdoor where people are asking for donations and they work in the hospital industry. And so I contact them and, I provide them the sign up forms, and then, but I talk to them as well, and they're telling me everything's just going out the window. We'll take anything we can get. It doesn't matter if,
And so like we've been kind of compensating that by like optimizing our printer settings. So like if you go really fast, you can print a little bit faster. So now usually if I print something, a visor takes about an hour and 5 minutes. Before, when it was just like standard, if you followed like the Budman recommendations, it would probably print in an hour and a half or a little bit more than that. So like we've found ways to trim down the time.
And we really have gotten, I think, a lot better at that in, say, the last 3-4 days, as people kind of realize what they're best positioned for and who the people around them are. And that's why if you go to our website, I wanted from the beginning to see where everyone was so that we can see what kind of help is nearby and how you might be able to think about your role locally, but also just to see that this is your team, right? So all those dots on the map are people that signed up.
I mean, it's incredible. You four are a ring around me, but there are so many rings around you, and then the chain of effects of that ring is even greater on the communities that you have all around. So we will conclude this interview here. Thank you all so much.
Thank you for talking to us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.